In April 2020, a YouTuber named Mav went camping with his truck completely unaware that he would experience fear like never before that night. On a foggy evening, Mav set out to go fishing with his Ford truck. After arriving at Lake Superior, he prepared his gear for the next day, then went out to find a place to spend the night somewhere peaceful, but not too far from the lake.
Alright, so I need to get the heck out of this spot. I originally picked that spot because that's where I was gonna fish in the morning, or where I am gonna fish in the morning, but after being there for like, I don't know, I've been there for like the latter half of the last hour, kind of just packing stuff up and trying to get my truck as organized as possible. But there's like a bunch of cars driving around there. I talked to one of the kids and he's a high schooler from the area, so I think it's just kind of like a high school hangout spot.
Along the way, Mav encountered a few deer, which are quite common in North America and unfortunately cause many accidents. But luckily Mav wasn't driving too fast and the deer didn't jump out in front of him. Finally, Mav returned to the lakeside where he wanted to fish the next day because the people who had been there earlier had left, allowing him to camp undisturbed.
So, I don't know, had to leave for a while and then came back and nobody's here. So I'm gonna make short of it. I'm not gonna have this light on in here for very long because people can probably see pretty well, at least through my back windshield. Early morning for me tomorrow. The salmon like to bite apparently right when it turns light out, so I'm gonna wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, 5 a.m., and I'm gonna try to get out there before it gets too light out. So
later he shares his plans for the next day, but suddenly he turns off the lights. This is where the disturbing events began.
Alright, so there's people right outside. They just did a burnout in their truck. And they're just hanging out right here. I don't know what's going on. I know you can't see me right now, but I can't risk turning on any lights.
Mav was approached by a truck which decided to leave half an hour later. Afterward, he crawled into his sleeping bag and went to sleep.
Last layer off and then hit the sack, but I guess this is good night. See you in the morning.
Around midnight, Mav was awakened by dragging metal sounds around his truck, followed by 2 loud pops.
Alright, so my main camera has died. It's about 2:30 in the morning, and I tried to get a little clip of it before my camera died, but there was like 2 kids out this way, and I woke up to like, it sounded like something dragging on the ground. I couldn't tell exactly where it was, but it sounded like it was in like this general direction and close to the truck, because the wind is like making so much noise in my truck. It had to have been close. This dragging goes on, and then all of a sudden there's a pop. I couldn't tell what it was at first, but then I realized that it was the sound of a gun, because there was the sound of a ricocheting bullet hitting concrete. It made like the pew sound.
Afterward, he managed to fall asleep again with some difficulty, and luckily he woke up unharmed in the morning and went fishing. It must have been a very frightening experience, because who would go out to the lakeside in the middle of the night and start shooting? The stalker and its intentions remain unknown to this day. The lesson is that going camping without a weapon, especially at night, can be very dangerous, as you never know who might approach you and with what intentions. It's also not ideal that the sleeping area in Mav's truck is separated from the cab, so if anything had happened, Mav wouldn't have been able to leave immediately. Larry RV is a YouTuber who regularly goes camping with his RV and 2 dogs in the southwestern parts of America. He has been sharing these experiences on his channel for more than 2 years. The videos are cozy and entertaining. Larry always tries to go to different places to maintain variety. On June 2nd, 2022, he uploaded a video of one of his evenings that was very disturbing. After arriving at a suitable spot, he lets his dogs out and then talks a little about his life.
Life's a lot easier, a lot less stress, a lot less anxiety, and I get to hang out and sleep in places like this that people only wait for weekends to go do on rare occasions, sometimes not at all. So I consider myself very lucky to be out here in this beautiful, picturesque area.
He highlights how lucky he feels to have such a lifestyle and to be able to visit such beautiful places. However, while preparing dinner that evening, he heard some very disturbing noises. someone started knocking on the door. Following this, Larry stood still, trying not to make any noise.
I hear somebody walking outside.
He mentions hearing someone, then slowly takes out his weapon in case anything happens, so he can protect himself and his dogs. Later, he turned off the lights in the RV, but he still thought he could hear sounds, and this time, even footsteps.
I can still hear them walking outside.
After a long wait, the camera ran out of battery, and Larry only checked in again in the morning. At 7:30 in the morning, he stepped out of the RV and said that someone had moved the objects around the motorhome.
Okay, this chair was over here by the table last night when I went to bed, or the last time I went outside.
After that, he packed up and left the campsite, but on the way, he saw something terrifying. A tent not far from the spot where he had been that night. Near the tent, he also saw a truck with a man alone inside.
I'm out in the middle of nowhere. Why is there a tent? Like right down the road from where I was camping. I haven't seen anybody. I haven't seen another person in miles and miles. I haven't seen anybody. And what's the deal with the truck? The guy in the truck. There was a guy sitting in a truck on the side of the road. Like a dark colored Ford or something. I think it was a Ford. Like just sitting there.
Fortunately, Larry left the place unharmed and continues to upload his videos. It's very scary that at night, miles away from roads and towns, there is someone out in the forest wandering aimlessly. It's even more frightening that this person who tried to break into Larry's car had set up a tent not far from him. This suggests that he had been watching Larry and probably had more intentions than just observing and breaking in. In March 2024, a YouTuber named Brendan Explores uploaded a video in which he and his friend go hiking in the mountains with their van, completely unaware of the terrifying events they would experience that night. After having breakfast, they went for a walk on the nearby trails.
Deep mud, and upon asking some other fellow walkers how long it is, the outlook wasn't safe for me to continue.
Well, here's a turn up for the books. Bit of an update for you. Oh, me and Steve have had to part ways. I've had second thoughts on this. The reason being, we've been on this trail. We've had some pretty treacherous pieces of path.
The scenery was quite beautiful. After this, they visited the nearby town where they spent the rest of the day.
As well, or a Bakewell pudding. I don't want to make that mistake of calling it a tart. And just see a little bit of Bakewell, really.
By the evening, they returned to the mountains, where they witnessed a beautiful sunset. Later, Brendan recorded himself preparing dinner, creating a very cozy and friendly atmosphere.
Taught method, Michelin star method, of bung it all in. That seems to be the best way to go with these. Peppers and onions. Okay, 180.
Imagine being outside in the evening in the nature with a safe van, cooking a delicious dinner. Afterward, Steve and Brendan had dinner, and Brendan shared his plans for the next day.
2 toasted chicken fajitas.
Brings a
With
tear
some
to
sweet
my
potato
eye.
fries,
I'll take
my
that
friend.
in the warm van, shall I?
Yeah, go on, mate.
God, it's cold, mate.
It's cold, it's
Yeah.
cold, it is cold.
Yeah, thanks for that, mate.
You're welcome.
Appreciate
You
it.
go and enjoy it, all right?
Right, mate.
Now, when you finish that, make sure you come back with your Bakewell tart.
Yes, I will. I will. See you later.
and get ready for bed, I think. And then we'll be off to go and explore more of the Peak District and other places in and around the Peak District.
At midnight, Brendan woke up to someone moving around the car.
Someone was just outside the van. Oh. You alright, mate?
Yeah. And there's a car. Did you have it as well?
Yeah.
Like a.
Yeah.
Steve told him that he saw a car watching them. When they went outside to have a look, they saw a car a few hundred meters away.
He's our problem. Because he's just driving backwards and forwards. If you look, right, he's definitely got a light on there. He's sitting up there. Is there something up there?
That scared the living daylights out of me.
Wow, I just banged my roof, I did then.
Jesus. So what are they playing at up there then?
Is that light up there? It's
Just stalking us.
it's if it's sitting up there with the headlights on. I'm trying to figure out what I'm looking at. Are you?
Yeah, like whether it's a vehicle or not. Well, it's definitely a vehicle because I heard it.
There he is.
Later, the stalkers left without any contact. They sent up a drone afterward and saw that a van and an off-road vehicle were watching them. Since they could hear music from the watchers, it was likely just some teenagers messing with them, but the van and the strong lights suggest something else. Encounters like this are very disturbing because who would follow and watch two hikers in the middle of the night, and for what reason? Neither of these questions was answered. But luckily nothing happened, and Brendan continues to upload videos to this day.